see something long absent in the sunken faces of passers-by. A glimmer of hope.
Well, we'll see if we can find a way to crush that. Hello, everyone. Science Viking here, and it's time to return to Darkest Dungeon. Well, I don't really have enough gold to do anything, so let's find a mission. Let's see. So I can get the Caution Cloak. We're not going to be taking on a champion mission, so we can either take on this one, or one of these 5. Book of Rage isn't very good. Beast Slayer's Ring is good, but we have several. Heaven's Hairpin is good, but I believe we already have one. Yep. Though I suppose it's worth having a spare in case we lose it. Mooncloak isn't bad, but it isn't really good either. Actually, I'd say it's pretty bad. I don't usually let the torch level get that low. Could be good if you're planning to take on a Shambler, though. And we already have an immunity mask. So medium, medium, medium. I'm going to take on the short one. Specifically so that I can bring 2 of the 3 people who are Resolve level 2. And then I'll bring Corey. And yes, a Man-at-Arms is a good 4th hero. Alright, unequip all trinkets, because I don't know if there are any currently equipped. And let's outfit our team. A Sacred Scroll and a Tome of Holy Healing for the Vestal. Got the Protective Padlock, and I think I'm gonna go with a standard trinket for him. Let's see. You know, I'll give him the Hag's Ladle. It helps him with Beast's Bile. Now the thing is, I'm actually not going to specialize, especially since Moncel has a quirk that increases the effectiveness of his melee skills. I'm going to emphasize melee with him, especially since he's in position 2. And I'll just give him the Stalwart Buckle to further increase his critical chance. Let's see, for you, we definitely want the Blight and Disease Resistance, since we're going into the Warrens. And the old fallback of the Flesh's Heart. Okay. Let us provision. I will not forget the food. 12 should be plenty. Supplies are free, so I'm not going to worry too much about them. May as well take a little bit of everything. Whoa! He flickered. I know that he flickered. I don't know what he flickered into, but I don't like it when my supplier... Whoa. He's still doing it. Stop flickering at me, man. It's creepy. Okay. And we embark. I don't think I forgot anything.
To prosecute our war against the swine, we must first scout their squalid homes.
Speaking of scouting, okay, I'm gonna have to go both ways. So there'll be a little backtracking, but not very much. Alright, get the highwayman to take care of the trap. He knows a thing or two about, like, picking locks and such. And we got a rack of blades, which had food on it somehow. I'm not gonna ask too many questions about that. I probably wouldn't like the answers. And we just randomly find a jute tapestry in the in a torch holder, and we also just randomly find a slavering ghoul. I'm gonna go with Rampart. And he resisted the stun. Alright, let's go with Manacles. Okay, he's stunned, but that's not really the important thing. The important thing, I can't reach him with Open Vein. And I still have point blank shot equipped because I'm a fool. Well, in that case, let's see if we can dazzle the ghoul. still no. The ghoul just does not want to be stunned today.
The horror.
I've never seen someone resist horror before, I don't think. 4 to 7 with that. Okay, so far the ghoul hasn't done anything too bad. Okay, and since nothing has changed, you're just gonna have to keep. Whoa! Gotta love that elevated critical chance. And can you finish it? Apparently not. Well, almost. I'll just let the Vestal finish the job.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
I wanted to get rid of the Marcher because he's less durable than the ghoul. Of course, I was expecting to be able to take him out on the first round. That was a little optimistic of me. Alright. And not much point in doing anything else. May as well just go with Crush. And yes, I'm using Tracking Shot to waste a turn because I want the Vestal to get an action so that I can do this.
Surgical precision.
How appropriate for the surgeon. Actually, she's not really a surgeon.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
So, I mean, if you want anyone to have surgical precision, it would be the team's medic. And now we just basically go in a straight line. I mean, it technically curves, but it doesn't really matter. Also, a lot of traps this time. More so than usual. I suppose it's appropriate. The swine are actually supposed to be fairly intelligent. Take that lock, and... Ow.
Curious is the trap maker's art.
Oh, right,
His
bandages.
efficacy unwitnessed by his own eyes.
You sound like you talk from experience. Another torch, and another trap. Okay, disarmed this time. This has been a rather uneventful scouting mission. Which is kind of nice. It should get the 3 Resolve level 2 people up to veteran level. Well, this is an interesting situation. How are we even in a fight? The enemies are all in stealth. Like, normally you wouldn't raise an issue about that,
but never hidden.
but they're still allowed to use their healing abilities. So they can use their healing abilities when they technically don't know that there are any enemies nearby. Why can't they just do that all the time? Well, Tracking Shot will fix the problem. But that's never happened before. We've never had a team that's all enemies in stealth. That's weird. Alright. Oh, right, the one you can reach the track.
Eradicate.
Damn, I missed your eyes. And now, the one that was... Okay, stealth is starting to wear off. Now we can deal with them semi-normally. Well... we'll heal the abomination. Flare resistance is only 60%, so... I'm gonna see if you can deal with that. Ramparts. Honestly, I probably should have gone with manacles. Well, I still can. Now everyone gets to be stunned. Okay, he's bleeding for 3, so I need to do 1 damage to him. I need to do 2 damage to him. Well, that'll take care of 1. That's it, actually. We're done. While we wait for them to bleed out, we can just heal and rest and stuff.
Great is the weapon that cuts
I
on
wonder what
its
it
own.
feels like to the enemy when we just start resting and healing up in the middle, technically
These
in the middle of a
nightmarish
fight
creatures
because we
can
know
be
that
felled.
we've won.
They can be beaten.
Wonder how the enemies feel about us doing that.
Such blockages
You know,
are unsurprising. These tunnels predate even the earliest settlers.
I feel like this mission is actually a great kind of training exercise, which is technically the actual purpose for the mission, for the new heroes, because they get to learn that 90% of a mission is you're walking back and forth inspecting nothing, and then all of a sudden ghoul out of nowhere. You know, that's really what this is like. It's very, you know, half an hour of boredom followed by 3 minutes of sheer terror. And another one of these. This is odd. Well, hide, invoke the healing power of dubstep. I may as well just heal the whole party and hope for a critical. Not that it will do any good. I need to change his abilities. I keep forgetting to do that. Well, may as well rampart the one that we can access. Ooh. Hook where it hurts, right in the shield. The shield's a vulnerable spot, right? Ooh.
Grievous injury.
Yeah.
Palpable fear.
Yeah. Whoa. Hind, it is really not your day. However, you have the ability to hit all three. Hit the guy who's still in stealth. Open vein. Yep, that's the end of him. 4 to 7, and he's blighted for 3. So let's go with Rampart, see if we can stun him. You can. He's gonna target the amount. Yep! Called it. At least he missed this time. It is really just not your day, man. That's the other thing. Sometimes the enemies just pick a single hero and decide to go at him just because, I guess, they don't like his face or something.
Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
I'll go for this just because it does damage. And that's him. Well, now these two are also gonna have to deal with the slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving. Oh, one of them dies sooner than that. Because Moncel needed... Basically because Moncel was bored. He needed to do something, so I had him kill one of the enemies. And the other one. He bores easily, apparently.
Destroy them.
Okay, I'm changing his abilities. I do not need point-blank shot. I want grape shot blast. Duelist's advance would be okay, but it's really better in a different team composition than this. Though actually, I don't know, it's pretty good in this team composition because I can use Rampart to put the Man-at-Arms back into position. Anyway, things need to be stunned now. Both of these things can hit really hard, but the Swinotar is the more serious threat. And that's why. Well, it missed this time. The good news is it's going to take him 2 actions to, before he can inflict damage again. Let's see if we can prevent him from getting those.
The way is lit. The path is clear.
Okay.
We require only the strength to follow it.
You should not use Rampart because successfully knocking him back will help him. You don't have a stunning ability, so just damage him. Fortunately, you can get past his high protection. Oh.
Quickly the tide turns.
Whoa, whoa. Yeah, that's, there really is nothing else to say about that. Try for stun again. And we succeed this time. Stick with open veins. Stick with what you're good at. Fortunately, we get a chance to heal him before the other enemies get to act. And, more importantly, with Retribution active, I can now use Defender. That was the plan all along. And go back to what you specialize in, Beast's Bile. Also, see what I was talking about earlier. Half an hour of boredom followed by a few minutes of sheer terror. That's what this job is. We gotta get this guy dead quickly. Unfortunately, he's bleeding and blighted collectively for a lot. Unfortunately, not for enough. His stun resistance is not elevated anymore, though. Okay. Guess we'll blight him for an additional 3. Only 110% base. Yeah, this is more likely to prevent him from killing anybody. However, dazzling light would be a reasonable investment. Okay. I'm using Defender again just to make sure it stays in effect. Because I don't know how long it's supposed to end. I could have just checked. But I didn't. Can't reach him with open thing. You may as well just go after the large corpse eater. And now we have to deal with Boar Rush. Fortunately, it's on the guy with the highest protection, and his protection is elevated. Unfortunately, its secondary effect's activated this time. But that should be the end of the Swinotar. Yep. Okay. So now we only have to deal with the large corpse eater. Unfortunately, a large corpse eater is a lot to deal with. Okay, you can actually hit him with Tracking Shot, which will do something that isn't nothing. And its stun resistance is not the same as the Swinotar's stun resistance. It is apparent. Oh, god. Wait, we're still okay. I miscounted. I thought the Blight would kill him, but since he used Trot Retreat, it doesn't matter. Because now he still dies before he actually gets to attack. Okay, now we're almost back in formation. Stick with manacles until this thing is stunned.
Their cursed champion falls.
Unfortunately, their other cursed champion is still standing, and he's busily doing that. Well, there we go.
A victory. Perhaps the turning point.
Everybody is... I want to see what's on that table, but otherwise I think we should get out of here. The stress levels are too high and the health levels are too low for us to stick around. So I'm not going for this last room because it could contain another one of those teams. I learned from last time, if you're using underleveled heroes, send them on short missions and try to get in and out quickly. Because otherwise you end up in serious trouble. Also, I forgot to use the Ancestor's Portrait, but in all honesty, this mission was kind of touch and go anyway. The portrait does nothing to increase a hero's ability to fight, and it actually decreases their ability to fight because it makes them take more stress. So while the extra resolve experience is nice, I feel good about having erred on the side of caution this time. Let's see what we got. Nobody picked up any diseases. That's surprising. And Moncel is resilient. That's pretty good. Okay, Hind is a bit of an issue being scattering. But then again, since that only reduces the damage of his ranged skills, and I believe his only ranged skill is Beast's Bile. I'm pretty sure Manacles is considered melee. I'll actually check that. The extra damage to melee skills can be good for Manacles, but also, more importantly, all of his damaging skills when he's transformed are melee. So this, I actually want to lock this in if I get a chance. Fast Healer is okay, but I actually really want to lock in Hind's Slugger if I can. That could be really awesome on that hero type.
Let me share with you the terrible wonders I have come to know.
First thing I want to do is check. Technically speaking, it doesn't matter which abomination I go for, but Manacles is ranged. That's odd, but I can accept it. The thing is, I don't really do Manacles for damage, I do it for stunning. I still, even though I don't use Transform that much, I still want to lock in Slugger. And I'm willing to pay 5,000 gold to do it right now before I forget, because extra damage to melee skills is 10% extra damage when transformed, and that could be really helpful. Want to be a better person? Yeah, be a better werewolf. Okay, and McDowell is having a bit of an episode. I'm actually going to treat McDowell's stress. Honestly, Moncel and Sasset also could use some stress treatment. I realize that they're still below 50%, but... and he can only go to the brothel. But, well... I don't want anybody to go in with too much stress, so... honestly, T-Nell could probably use some treatment too, but T-Nell and Druel, but I think that can wait. In the meantime, now that we've completed our first mission, I'm gonna quick get us a fresh recording file before we continue. I will be back in a moment.
Curiosity, interest, and obsession. Mile markers on my road to damnation.
Alright, I'm back. I've got a lovely fresh recording file, and I'm gonna see if the Nomad Wagon has anything particularly impressive. It really doesn't this time. So, let's find ourselves another mission. Okay, I don't really have a plan at this point. I could attempt the next Darkest Dungeon mission. Need to activate 3 Iron Crowns. If I were to do so, let's see, who's my highest level Vestal? My highest level Vestal is level 3. So, let me see what my medium difficulty options are. You know, I'm interested in going back to the Darkest Dungeon, but at the same time, I'd get the Hell's Hairpin, which I both already have and don't really like. But if I complete this, I can get a Bullseye Bandana, which is actually really good for an Arablast. Increased accuracy and critical. The reduced dodge isn't really a big deal. So, I'm going to bring Corey, the higher level Vestal. And who else? Let's see. I have an idea. Tenant, either Vilhardane or Ide. Ide. I really like Eagle Eye. I also want to lock it in when I get the chance. And then... who should I bring as a... because I could bring my level 2 McDowell, but McDowell is busy right now. And then... actually, before I do this, there's something else I want to do. Which is, we have enough gold. I'm actually going to get Druel some stress treatment to get her stress down to 0 so that I can potentially send her to the Darkest Dungeon later. Yeah, the rewards are still the same. So, who do I want as my third team member? Since it's a medium-length mission, I'm going to bring Baozhou in position 1. I'm going to bring a Man-at-Arms in position 1. Alright, Vestal gets the portrait. Step out equipping all trinkets. And sorting by character class restriction. Let's see. I'm going to go with the Tome of Holy Healing instead of the Sacred Scroll because the Tome doesn't reduce stun chance. And then she also gets the Ancestor's Portrait. The Arablest gets... oh, we already have a Bullseye Bandana. In that case... whoa. Now something's flickering over here. Is this... I'm guessing... okay, this is just a tough ring, but I'm going to do the long mission because the Vestal can get more experience with the Ancestor's Portrait on a long mission. And the Arablest gets the Wrathful Bandana and the Bullseye Bandana. For you, Hunter's Talon and the Wounding Helmet. And since we're going to the ruins, blight and disease resistance are largely meaningless. The Flesh's Heart is always good. And we already have a couple of tough rings, so I'll equip you with one of those. The reduced damage isn't really an issue because of the Mark Exploitation team we have. I mainly just need you to survive. And yeah, I'm gonna take on a long mission in just the hopes of getting Corey leveled up as quickly as possible. The others leveling up will be helpful though. Grab ourselves some bandages. Momentarily check the corner of the screen to make sure I'm actually recording, because I was worried for a second. Little anti-venom, because I believe there are enemies that can inflict blight, just not many. The main thing is we need a lot of food, because there aren't really a lot of sources of food in the ruins. Torches are important, not as much as in the Weald. I just got jump scared by that. He's definitely... something's definitely up. I think I might be turning into the Ancestor. And I don't see any reason to use medicinal herbs. There is a lot of reason for holy water, though. Okay, into the ruins, where the skeletons definitely can't just suddenly change their appearance and flicker in and out of looking horrifying. Actually, I'm probably about to discover
Pace
that
out the
they can.
halls of your lineage once familiar, now foreign.
Okay. This is gonna be a challenge, so... I think I can skip these two, and I think I will. Start by heading this way. Gotta properly pin down the nothing. I'm just gonna leave the bookshelf. Alright, skeletons and a crazy guy. It's time for some violence. You know, going into a long mission with nobody having any stress management skills does make me a tad nervous. Let's start by getting rid of the madman.
Ringing ears, blurred vision. The end approaches.
Crush on the noble, yeah. In 2 turns, he can take care of the noble. And sniper shot should one-shot the madman. Like so.
Annihilated.
Let's quick heal up the bounty hunter. Whoa.
A dizzying blow.
He's just...
body
Pennant
and
is just a
brain.
magnet for critical hits today. Mark Prey. I gotta admit, the animation on Tempting Goblin is really good. Like, it's a weird thing to notice, but they do a really good job of making it look like liquid that's spilling out of the cup. A lot of games get that wrong.
Blossoms.
And so it's just something I noticed that kind of impresses me. And might one-shot this one, it's a lot less certain.
Decimated.
And Ide says, underestimate me at your own peril.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
Unfortunately, the best answer we can muster is, please don't. Okay. Going
The
battlefield
wounds of
bandage,
war
even if it
can
doesn't
be
do much.
But never hidden.
Fortunately, Graveyard Slash isn't really dangerous unless it gets a critical hit. So I don't know, 10 damage could be pretty bad. And let the Man-at-Arms get another kill.
Give them no quarter.
Despite
This
his
expedition
reduced
at
damage, he's
least
getting a lot of
promises
kills.
success.
Okay, there's treasure in this room, and the backtracking is likely more dangerous than having to deal with the obstacles, so I'm just going to use up our shovels. I don't want to be hit by Quarrel. I had to say it! Okay, we can still achieve my goal of not being hit by Quarrel. 6 to 12. Rampart only knocks back by 1. Everybody really needs some healing. So just spread around that healing goodness. I was honestly expecting that one to be a critical hit, just because that's the luck that Pennant seems to have. By comparison, Ide is a net exporter of critical hits. There's really no point in using Mark for death. However, Sniper's Mark, I can't hit it because it's in stealth still. I really do actually need to equip what's it called? Rallying Flare. Oh, right, that technically is a stress management ability, even if it isn't a very good one. Alright, knock him into range of the sniper. And he's also susceptible to finish him. However, I want to kill him with extreme prejudice. And that's definitely the reason why I'm doing this, and I don't have any kind of ulterior... Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, I did have an ulterior motive. I was hoping to get the Vestal a chance to heal Pennant before this happened.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Oh, there is actually a use for medicinal herbs.
A handsome
I had forgotten
reward
about that.
for a task well performed.
Okay. And now is one of those situations where we'll need one of our shovels.
Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing passage.
Something I will say about the scouting missions by comparison to the extermination missions, you at least know how much work you have to do. Like, you consistently know how close you are to the end of the mission. Okay, this is an interesting combination we've got here. Okay, I want to prevent either of... I want to prevent at least one of them from defendering one of his teammates. I'd stun the other one, but the bounty hunter desperately needs healing right now. And here's hoping that our R of Blessed goes before theirs does.
And improvement.
And this is, of course, this is Darkest Dungeon, the place where Hope goes to die, so that obviously didn't work.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Naturally. However, Ide has decided that you don't need hope when you have a crossbow. And let's just do another one of those. Gotta admit, elevated critical chance combined with sniper shot is really powerful. I'm really enjoying the consistent 36% critical hit chance. Axe Blade is basically their miscellaneous ability. It does almost nothing. And if I can stun him, yep, he won't be able to use foul warding. Which means that can happen.
Their formation is broken.
I believe
offensive.
Ide has yet to not one-shot something. Seriously. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this one. I'm fairly certain Ide has yet to have an enemy survive being hit by her. Let's see if that continues. It does. That wouldn't have been a one-shot if he hadn't already been damaged, though. So, that's slightly less impressive, but just Ide is on a roll. I'd avoid getting her angry at you if I were you. Yes, I realize that pun was terrible.
Success so clearly in view.
Okay, it is an heirloom chest, but those sometimes contain really good loot.
Trick of the light.
Like, this would be one of those times when the heirloom chest contains really good loot. Like a jute tapestry. Does the game just artificially increase the chance of getting those when you're broke? Because I also got one in the previous mission when we had almost no money, and I got it from a sconce. Like, I honestly wonder if the game just does that when you're low on money. Okay, let's light up another torch, and okay, just carefully and disarm. Let me also just quick replace suppressing fire with rallying flare to deal with stealth. Alright. Okay, and we've pretty much... Oh, and we have a hallway battle. Okay, he'll leave behind a corpse, or he won't die, that's also possible. And I'm gonna have Pennant and Ide do the usual. Okay! That's the first time Ide has not one-shotted something. Of course, Corey is perfectly capable of finishing the job for her. And Baojo has to deal with Graveyard Slash and Bump in the Night. gonna quick heal everyone. And Rallying Flare. Let's get rid of that stealth. Once again, no stress healing, but that's fine. Well, I don't know. The Vestal, given the Vestal's mental state, that's kind of not fine. Oh, I was expecting Collect Bounty to kill him. Judgment will.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Been underestimating the negative effect of the Sacred Scroll. I'm really, because I use it all the time,
the path is clear.
I'm really not used to Judgment doing damage. Okay, which is more dangerous? Stressful Incantation is more dangerous than Quarrel, so that's going to be the priority. So, mark the Enchantress. I may end up eating my words on that one. Okay, I do not want to be hit by Rend for the Old Gods. It's not as bad as Rend for the New Gods, but it's still pretty bad. Let's at least keep the Vestal off of death's door, even if we can't keep her from being afflicted.
But never hidden.
And that was a really unusually poor damage roll for her. Well, it had to happen sometime. This, on the other hand, didn't need it. Just what we needed.
Anger is power.
It is as the verse book says. Purity is power. Yep, Vestal's pissed. Okay, I'm actually gonna... I have an idea. Mark the Marksman. Sniper shot on the Marksman.
Masterfully executed.
That is what I needed. Because the thing is, well, it means having to deal with one Rend for the Old Gods. I can reach the Enchantress with Crush. What does that buff do? Increase speed and damage. Or no, just increase damage. The increased speed is for Mark for Death. Alright, give yourself a quick heal. So she doesn't just increase her own power, she increases everyone else's too. And Collect Bounty deals extra damage to human. Quite a bit, actually. So that just leaves the poor, weary bone veteran. Now let's get some free healing on the Vestal.
The wounds of war can be healed, but
and
never hidden.
There is no escape. 2 more shovels in case we need those. Gonna open the sarcophagus. 1,500 gold, that's pretty good. Is there anything I can reasonably drop? Yeah, I'll drop the Eldritch Killing Incense for the gold. Because the thing is, the hunger for the first time allows me to almost get everyone back to full health.
The light, the promise of safety.
I'm gonna save my last key for in case we have a secret room, which in a dungeon this large is actually reasonably likely. Now we have our first room with just a battle and nothing else. Okay, I'm not risking that without... I really need to stop hoarding the firewood because we're starting to run out of torches. Ooh, gargoyles! I haven't seen you guys in a while. Okay. Rampart 1 of the Gladiators, because Rend for the Old Gods is actually a significant problem. And I'm still going to the Enchantress because I believe she is actually, between Mark and Stress, I believe she's actually more dangerous than the gargoyles are. And yet another critical hit. I'm really liking that Wrathful Bandana. And I guess the gargoyle knew when to cover his eyes.
To a killing blow.
Okay, if that had not been a critical, it wouldn't have been a big deal at all. So yeah, the gargoyles are less of a threat than the Enchantress. They're not nothing, but they're less of a problem than the Enchantress. Especially when they have so little protection, so little health, and I can reduce their protection. They have a lot of movement abilities, though. This is a holy boon use it
Time
wise.
to perform
Yep.
beyond one's limits.
Another plus 15% damage. And... wait, 5 to 10? Judgment will do 5 to 10 to the gladiator? I'm doing that! I can just get rid of him pretty soon. Get rid of the one
Another
gargoyle.
one falls.
To be fair to the gargoyle, even with reduced protection, I only did 10 damage to it. On the other hand, Pennant, it's kind of like bowling. Pennant sets him up, Ide knocks him down. Let's have another one then, shall we?
Executed with impunity.
Okay, I have an idea. Somebody mentioned that you can do this, so... light up the firewood. That doesn't get rid of this.
Gathered
Feast.
close in
That doesn't
tenuous
get rid of
firelight.
this. And it removes one
Uneasy
stack of food and
companionship.
one stack of firewood, allowing me enough inventory space to take all. Okay, go for Sanctuary. Let's see. Do I have any good buffing abilities? I'm gonna go for Restring Crossbow. Because I pretty much always want Ide to go after Pennant does, and this will make her do even more damage. After that, yeah, I'll use Prey. Oh, that doesn't actually reduce her stress, it reduces everyone else's. And then Encourage. Though the Vestal is already,
As the light gains purchase,
and
spirits
successful
are lifted.
scouting. Yeah,
and
definitely
purpose
not
is
going
made
this
clear.
way. Got a decent set of bonuses from that, and enough inventory space for rubies and onyx. Which is good, because we really need the money right now. Though the Jute Tapestry is going to help, assuming we survive this mission. Rampart's Bulwark. Which of these is more dangerous? Quarrel is more dangerous than Tempting Goblet. And with Restring Crossbow, the odds of that working are even higher. And I want the torch bonus. I'm going to zap this guy again. We're low enough on torches that I'm actually going to need to start using the Vestal. I'm going to need to start using Dazzling Light to create Torchlight. Though I can also use Rallying Flare for that purpose. I keep basically forgetting everything Rallying Flare can do. I'm sure it feels very neglected. Graveyard Slash. Well, his stealth is gone. Let's rampart this guy even farther back. Dazzling Light for this one this time, though in hindsight I probably should have healed. And I'm tired of dealing with Tempting Goblet. We already have one of those back at the hamlet. We don't need another one. Let's just set that one up to be the next to die. He has elevated stun resistance, but I could still stun him. And this one, there he goes.
Quakes.
Okay, your odds of... you can't one-shot him without a critical, but the healing is still always good. And let's let Pennant kill something.
Strike.
And Pennant has decided he doesn't want to be outdone by Ide.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Okay. Hidden treasures. Gold. That we don't have room for. I'm not willing to drop anything. Still need to keep going. It's gonna be a bit of a... we still have quite a bit of mission left. Fortunately, we got some scouting. Nice, tasty scouting. Whoa! Got a lot of scouting. Yeah, wasn't sure if I wanted to go for that, but one hallway worth of backtracking is eminently acceptable. For a room battle with treasure. Okay. And it's another one of these. Health. More bones to break. And that's always a good start. Wait, yeah, you dazzle the one in the front. Get us more torchlight, which we kind of need. And then you can mark the one farther back, who we can take out with Sniper Shot. Meaning the only attack we actually have to deal with this turn is Graveyard Slash. And I'd stress level is really low because she just keeps one-shotting everything. She often but not always gets a stress reduction every time she kills something, and she is killing something just about once a turn. Rampart could stun. Also, throwing him even farther out of position is helpful. Especially since it forces him not to use Quarrel. One more Dazzling Light, because I want a little bit more torch level. Can't go down during fights, so I can exploit this opportunity.
Well struck.
And Ide was apparently just getting started. Those criticals were only the beginning. Now I'll show you what a real critical looks like. Alright. Just guarantee that the Bulwark dies next turn. That was a little close, apparently. Let's just Rampart this guy. Because I want him to survive, but I also want him stunned. Our actions have pleased the Sacred Flame. But this way I get to use... Ooh. Didn't need that critical, but it was welcome. And, once again, Pennant is on cleanup duty.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
Right, Citrine I think is worth less than a full stack of gold. Managed to open the unlocked strong box, see if it has anything useful.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles. Paid for in blood.
We've yet to encounter something that uses holy water, so I'm dropping the holy water. And I have plenty of fights that I can... use to replenish the torch level between my two torch boosting abilities. It's interesting just how much you have to think about utility abilities in this game. Just, you know, not just defeating enemies, but also things to just kind of mitigate damage and stuff. Okay, Corey can't become... yeah, her resolve can't be tested again. Alright. Rampart this one. Won't accomplish much, but it will accomplish a little. I believe Collect Bounty can reach position 3. It cannot. But Finish Him can? That's confusing. Oh, and the wheels kind of fell off a little bit. Okay. We're still gonna win, but yeah, some things have gone a little bit wrong. Tempting Goblet. She's not really in... yeah, she's not in danger until she gets up to heart attack levels of stress. Okay, this is the turn order I want to have. And that is the Dead Conscript that I want to have. And that is the Graveyard Slash I'd really rather not have. But, okay. That's the end of him. So Dazzling Light. Torch level a little higher. Have an ID. Mark for Death. Divine Comfort. Just quick heal everyone a little bit. Crush is unlikely to one-shot it. Would need a critical to do so. This gives me a chance to use Rallying Flare and boost our torch level just a smidge. Let us be done with this rabble. Well, once again, Pennant, go for cleanup duty.
Power.
And prove just how hard you know how to hit things.
Be wary.
Okay.
Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
I have a feeling we're gonna run into the Collector at some point. I believe he can only ever be a hallway battle. Also, I think this room is where we're going to need to make camp. Crush does 6 to 12. I can't reach her with Collect Bounty.
Impressive.
Collect Bounty 12 to 26. So,
A decisive pummeling.
yeah, decided to go with a slightly different strategy there. And Pennant is demonstrating his skills at audible silence. It is kind of badass when his critical hit quote is just an ellipsis.
A devastating blow.
Anide has decided that with or without Pennant, she's killing that thing. Dazzle them into submission. And since he's stunned, he's no longer protecting the gladiator. Bandage up. And you need to mark the bulwark. However, the Vestal and the Man-at-Arms can work together to turn the gladiator into a sadiator. That was a terrible pun, and I'm not apologizing for it.
Seize
that
this momentum.
Is the end
Push
of
on
that.
to the task's end.
Okay, firewood,
A moment of respite.
just a full meal.
A chance to steel oneself against the coming horrors.
Sanctuary, and then everybody encourage the Vestal. She clearly needs it. Let's see. And let's just use tactics. And rest up. What was the sudden stress boost that they all got?
The match
Does
is
that just
struck.
happen
A
sometimes?
blazing star is
Oh,
born.
just another thing we need to manage. Let the Vestal disarm the trap to reduce your stress level. She's holding up impeccably well, considering that her stress level has been hovering around 100 this entire time. Or at least for most of it. But we're almost out of this. Just a couple more rooms that are supposed to be empty, and one fight with the Collector. I mean, I don't know that yet. I'm just... but at the same time, I know it. We're going to run into the Collector at some point. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a trapezohedron or two, though I already have a jute tapestry, so I really should just stop complaining. And yes, I realize there are no hallway battles indicated along our path. I'm still betting we're going to run into the Collector somehow. And I almost just barely enough food to cover hunger. We only have a little left, but not very much. If I had feasted, we wouldn't have been able to cover that. Alright, through the door, and I believe that's it. Nope. We need one more. And we're down to our last torch. And we're heading off the map, so it's entirely possible that we run into the Collector in this hallway. Nope, just regular enemies. May as well light up our last torch, though. Okay, 6 to 12, but you could one-shot the conscript, though it's not likely. However, that will take care of him. In hindsight, I probably should have stunned one of the nobles. Because if I'd stunned the near noble, I can kill the far noble and we don't have to deal with Tempting Goblet. Instead, we're going to have to deal with it once. And it targets the Vestal as if he doesn't know that she's come out virtuous. Alright, mark the noble. And we have to deal with another tempting goblet. Thank you, turn order. But that is the end of that. And now we just kind of need to stall for time until his stealth wears off, or we can get rid of it. Well, may as well just go for some healing.
Compassion is a rarity in the fever pitch of battle.
They've just been really focusing the Vestal with everything. Aside from that brief period at the beginning with Pennant being the critical hit magnet, everything bad has been aimed at her, and she's just taken all of it. She's just taking it all in stride.
But a victory nonetheless.
But Pennant, I just want to stop and say a moment. You are clearly going to go far in this industry with the attitude you've shown throughout this mission. Alright. Okay, got a little more violence we have to do first. Rampart the bulwark so that he can't bulwark anything. Mark for death the far noble, and hope that the Vestal goes before the near noble does. Nope. That was too much to hope for. However, now she can dazzle this noble. In theory, anyway. Okay, that at least managed to succeed. Okay. We at least get something to happen correctly. His health is 12, so I can't reliably kill him with Crush. Fortunately, he picked a different target this time. The Vestal's health is actually starting to get dangerously low. And Beaujeu has decided he'd like to prove to us that he isn't just a tank, that he also knows how to hit things. And let's depose a noble, shall we?
A brilliant confluence of skill and purpose.
Yeah, mark for death. Sniper shot. Wasn't expecting that to be the turn order. And Crush. Crush won't kill the veteran, but Judgment will. Not. Well, Pennant, looks like you're on cleanup duty again. That always happens. I really just need to start calling him the cleaner. He always gets rid of the last enemy. Okay, that's the end of the mission, but there's a chest right here. And I have a key.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
Yeah, now that we've found it, now we have the really challenging part where we carry it home. Now watch me undertake that difficult task. You watching? There, it's been carried home.
The shifted corridors and sloped walls of our ancestry are beginning to feel familiar.
$22,000, not bad at all. And that's in addition to the actual quest reward. Okay, Beaujeu has reduced accuracy for range skills. That's pretty much meaningless. The ennui is a bit of a problem. Alright, let's return to town.
I was lord of this place.
And Ide has made it up. Yeah,
rats made it their domain.
Completely appropriate. Ide has made it up to champion level. Okay, yeah. You know, I'm gonna be honest. Aside from Mankind Hater, which is actually good considering he has Collect Bounty, his abilities, his quirks really feel like a joke. So, extra critical for ranged skills, extra damage for ranged skills. Extra accuracy is pretty good no matter what, but it's like, he doesn't have ranged skills. Like, maybe Come Hither is ranged, I'm not sure. Okay, Beaujeu. Alright, straight Beaujeu's disease. And Ide, yeah. I actually want to lock in Eagle Eye. It'll cost a fair amount, especially since she's a champion level. And while we're at it, let's get rid of Hero Mania. We have enough gold for it. Restrain me not, I am here of my own volition. And Corey, yeah, get yourself a drink or several. You clearly need them. Corey's gonna need some stress treatment. So we have 27,000 gold. I'm gonna go through the champions first and see if they're all prepared, because I kind of want to start a run against the Darkest Dungeon. Which raises the question of, if I were to do so, who would I send? I don't know what I'm getting into, is the issue. I don't know anything about the next mission. And so, other than the fact that I'm taking a very real risk of losing whoever I send, I don't know what a good team for that mission looks like, because I don't know what the mission is. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through my heroes while I think about it. Oh, right, these three can't go, because they've already been before. Oh, right, so I can't send a Vestal. That does change some things. So Durari is maxed out. Bernier is not. Hugh, Chop, Purge, and Solemnity. How about Boissel? Boissel could still use some work. Not Puchot. Same. Hound's Rush, Target Whistle, Cry Havoc, Blackjack, and the Wounds. And that's all I can really afford to spend. So, if I were to go on that mission, what would be a good team composition? Let's see, I have the rudiments of a good Mark Exploitation team. So, let's think about this. So, that would be... Sortival, Puchot in position 2, Boissel, and then we just need a tank. Like Bernier. This is... It still would give me Hell's Hairpin, but this is a feasible team, even though we don't have a Vestal. Everyone in this team has some kind of healing ability, and 2 of them do have the ability to heal their teammates. So, against my better judgment, I'm going to try this. Unequip all trinkets, start with character class restriction, but... Talisman of the Flame. I have 3 of them. I'm going to give them to everyone except the Leper, because the Leper is the least fragile. After that, I'm going to go with Accuracy and Critical Chance at the expense of Dodge. So that's the Bullseye bandana. And for you, you get the Ancestor's Scroll as one of yours. Oh, you only get one, so you get the Ancestor's Scroll. Spiked Collar. Actually, no. I want the Cudgel Weight. We have, now, you already have a pretty good stun chance. And for you, definitely not the Berserk Mask. Or the Immunity Mask. Fortunate Armlet is pretty good. And I'm actually going to go with the Healing Armlet, because I'm just going for... Because we can't bring a Vestal to this mission, I'm going for a defensive-oriented team. Also, part of the reason why I'm not going to wait for one of my other 2 Vestals to level up is because, though it's kind of ghoulish to say this, I guess this is the Ancestor shining through in me a little bit, we're probably going to lose. And I don't want to risk one of the few Vestals that I have on a mission that there's a very good chance that not everybody comes back from. So, alright. Hands of Glory. Oh! The left hand of some malefactor who died in the gallows made into a candle with the man's own fat. I've actually heard of these before. They come up in mythology a lot. Sometimes the rules for what is required to make one actually vary from source to source. Some sources say that it has to be a thief, others that it's, in one version, which would actually fit with the tone of Darkest Dungeon really well, a Hand of Glory can only be made from the hand of someone who is wrongfully executed. That if they were guilty, then you can't make a Hand of Glory out of them. Also, alright, so the Darkest Dungeon probably, again, will not have curio interactions. It could potentially have poison, blight or bleeding, but okay, 7,700 plus what we can get from selling trinkets means we could fund another mission if this one fails.
The thing has no name, for it needs no language. Nevertheless, those who would submit to its wordless will are rewarded in a fashion. The creature's blessings are as repulsive as they are robust. Twisted, half-human monstrosities stalk the flesh-ridden halls, protecting their gestating god.
So, basically, we're fighting against an evil flesh god. Lovely. Okay. 3 possible directions, no real way of telling.
Madness made flesh.
Whoa.
It crawls steadily upward from the pit, supported by the lattice of cyclopean pillars.
Okay, you can't really benefit a lot from Target Whistle. I really shouldn't have Cry Havoc equipped. 11 to 21 would have been if it had hit, that is. Okay, Flesh to Flesh is meaningless right now. Flesh Wall is somewhat meaningful, but is arguably more good than bad for me. The finger is as much of a problem as it ever is. Okay. Bandage. Okay, get a bandage. They have 21 hit points. It says 13 to 26. If it hits, it has a decent chance to kill the Flesh Wall. Haha! Good. That's helpful because you can't. All right. Now I forgot to equip the marking ability. Oops. Of course. Alright, well, I have this marking ability. Alright. Have to do another death lash. Stop lashing out at me. Sacrificial stab because he is Eldritch. And against a marked target, 18 to 34, so a decent chance to kill. Okay, that's actually helpful. Flesh Wall is helpful right now. You're bleeding for little enough damage. So you're bleeding for 9. I can't really afford to cure your bleeding right now. However, I might be able to get rid of the Rapturous Cultist, which will prevent him from healing the actually dangerous guy. Fortunately, that didn't work.
Diminished.
Let's go with Battlefield Bandage. Haha! Well, the good news is the Rapturous Cultists are really stupid. Alright. Okay, let's go with... Actually, let's go with... Oh, right, I can't reach the front line with Sniper's Mark. But I can get rid of the Rapturous Cultist.
Destroy them all.
And I think we can just deal with the Cultist Priest with the normal method. He has 3 hit points and is bleeding for 2 of them. Okay. I guess we have one last Death Lash to remember him by. Alright. You have boosted healing received. We need it right now. Right. Solemnity. You can hear the nervousness in my voice as I attempt to do this. Stick with Solemnity. The bleeding is gone. So okay, the other priest isn't a threat, but we need to finish this priest off. The only one who can do that right now is
Press
you.
this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Okay. Okay, that
Be
was
wary.
the first battle.
Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
I suppose the good news is only successful missions prohibit you from going back to the darkest dungeon. If you retreat and survive, you're allowed to try again. Though it's unlikely that a Grand Guard, and he actually receives a protection buff from that. Well, I forgot to equip the Occultist's marking ability. Oh, all that you've done is guaranteed that I'll go after the other priest. And frankly, I'm going to be relying on weird reconstruction a lot. I'd really like for the Arables to go next, but can't.
Desolated.
Well, there's some good and there's some bad in that. How do I want to do this? I actually need to think for a moment. So, there's only 33% protection. So I think I am going to focus on taking it out. I don't have the ability to stun it out of its guarding status. So I'm just going to have to try to kill it. Accuracy and critical hit rate. Well, sniper shot. 37% chance to critical. High probability of killing that thing if it does critical. And Brasso gets to discover what it's like to be on the receiving end of bleeding for once. Okay, Chop will do 9 to 17. What would Hugh do? 5 to 9. Did just barely not enough. Okay, how am I gonna get myself out of this one? Stun resistance is 73%. I think I can stun him.
Impressive.
Perfect. I need him not to inflict damage for a moment. Okay, bandage. I dare say it's a battlefield bandage. Terribly unsuccessful weird reconstruction.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Sniper shot can get rid of the guard thing. And that was the best I could reasonably have expected from Chop. That was considerably less than the best I could have expected from Sacrificial Stab.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope
Okay,
blossoms.
before I forget, let's fix some of our ability assignments. Abyssal Artillery is unlikely to be helpful, but Vulnerability Hex is likely to be helpful, and Cry Havoc is a lot less helpful than Lick Wounds. I specifically brought you because Lick Wounds is an ability that you have. I'm gonna bet that this is the way that moves us towards the objective. And also, I'm fairly certain that each of these 3 connections to the entrance leads to like a major branch that ends in one of the things we have to interact with. So we're not even close to the end of this. Okay, another defensive growth and then 2 malignant growths. This is okay. Malignant growths. You have Maul the Flesh and Daze the Mind, and you have Grand Guard and Bolster. Well, your speed is 4. I can't check the speed of my other heroes, but I'm willing to bet they're all higher than 4. Oh, your speed is 10. Hope I get lucky. I'm just gonna gamble that that it doesn't block this one, or that I get a chance to attack this one. Sacrificial Stab to begin wearing it down. Chop to continue wearing it down. Okay. That was incredibly fortunate. That was significantly less so. Sword of All, you actually go for healing. I have half a plan right now.
A brilliant confluence of skill and purpose.
Ritualistic, lovely. It can heal them. Well, let's take away that protection bonus it's got. Or take away the vast majority of it, anyway. All the flesh does a lot. So does sniper shot, though. Bandage, probably a mistake, but... Let's go with Q. Actually, I probably should have gone with Chop on the other malignant growth. Boy. Okay. Okay, get rid of the blocking growth, the defensive growth.
The offensive.
Get some healing done, even if it isn't very much. Okay. I remember the good old days where one malignant growth felt like a mini boss. Okay. You definitely need a bandage now, and you need some solemnity.
Sedated.
I have an idea. Okay, target whistle on this growth. Vulnerability hex on this growth. Because sniper shot can get rid of that one. And now Hound's Rush can get rid of the other one. And you just stick with solemnity. Ho 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 ho! Ah, critical solemnity. Exactly what I needed. And that is the end of that. You know...
A trifling victory. But a victory nonetheless.
Some of you in the audience may be surprised to learn this, but the darkest dungeon is hard. It's actually very hard. Okay, Templar Warlord and Flesh Hounds. Alright. Dodge 29, speed 6. Okay. It only has 105 hit points. I may be able to damage race this. And of course, damage race is my solution to everything. Revelation. Okay. Revelation is the ability that's mentioned by that trinket. Okay, sniper shot. 14 to 28 without a critical. I mean, we got the lower end of that, but... Okay, that's a bit of a problem. So he has Revelation. He probably uses Revelation every turn. And in addition to that... Alright. As much as I'd like to reduce his evasion, I really can't afford to do so. You absolutely need Weird Reconstruction. So he has a 3 out of 4 chance to target... I'm going to go with Solemnity for now. He has a 3 out of 4 chance to target one of the people who is immune to Revelation when he uses Revelation. Unfortunately, the Hounds are just kind of an extra problem. But that's what Revelation is, and we need to be careful around it. Oh, right, his marker's already worn off.
How quickly the tide turns.
And unfortunately, our main healer is busy keeping himself healed, so he can't really afford to heal his teammates right now. Or can't really afford to mark the target right now. Fortunately, I brought 3 different people with marking abilities. I'm just going to move you forward to guarantee that he's in a position where he can use his marking ability. Alright. I'm going to risk vulnerability hex because it will also reduce his evasion. Okay. We have to deal with Nash.
Mortality clarified in a
wonderful.
single strike.
Alright, Blossel. And another one. Okay, that my heart was in my throat for a second. That was the timeliest dodge I've seen in some time. Alright. The wounds only works on self. Hound's Rush, however, works on enemies. That was not really the best wordplay I could have done. Okay, once again, Revelation fails to do anything. Chop. I can probably get rid of the Flesh Hounds. In hindsight, I think it was a mistake to try to damage race this. And unfortunately, given the structure of the mission, there are 2 more of these. That's going to be very challenging to overcome. I've been very lucky with Revelation so far, though. It's consistently targeted. Okay, perfect. The one ability I need him to use is pretty much the one thing he can do right now. Alright. Get rid of one of those. Torment, at least it's on the two people who can most reliably take it. Weird fucking reconstruction right now. Okay, anti-venom? Even though he's marked without a critical, he won't die from that. Okay, how long is he marked? 2 rounds. Okay, you just move back then. And once again, he picks the wrong target for Revelation. That's at least some good news. And Weird Reconstruction manages to roll a 0. It was bound to happen eventually. Nash, however, has rolled
Injury
considerably
and
higher than 0.
Set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
Okay, that's the Templar down. It's just the last Hound. And frankly, the Leper can probably handle that by himself. Get him off of Death's Door. Alright. Solemnity. Battlefield bandage. Yes, I am attempting to stall this out a little bit. Stun. Okay. That buys us a little bit of time to heal. Lick wounds. Didn't do as much as I had hoped. Battlefield bandage. Yeah, doing this without a main healer may be completely non-viable. Chop. Alright, now we need to get rid of the last Flesh Hound reasonably quickly. Hound versus Hound. And one last Nash to remember you by, and it misses. And... wait, I didn't need to do that. It's bleeding for 2. It will die on its own. Well, let's be weirdly reconstructed then.
Slowly, gently.
Okay.
This is how a life is taken.
Okay, so we've damaged the creature a little bit. It's time to make camp.
Gathered close in tenuous firelight and uneasy companionship.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to use Unspeakable Commune to prevent nighttime ambush. Okay, therapy dog, because everyone needs stress reduction. Man's best friend. And let's just do some chain encouraging. Okay, the stress levels are still higher than I'm comfortable with, but there's nothing I can do about it beyond what I've already done.
A blazing star is born.
Okay, so it looks like it's seeming very much like this is just going to be a mission organized into thirds. This extra area then is a cul-de-sac that probably has treasure. I'm not going there. I'm just not risking it. It's, if we succeed, it will be by a very narrow margin. If we succeed, it will be by the skin of our eyes. And I would like none of these heroes to die. So I'm just going to keep following the plan.
Spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Gotta admit, the atmosphere in this place is really intense. Like, it's cool and absolutely terrifying. They're just like, it started off and had this stark black iron look to it, and as we progress, it's gradually we're gradually descending into flesh hell. Okay, a little difficult to prioritize targets here, because the malignant growth is probably the larger threat, but I'm not actually sure about that. Well, the thing is, since the Houndmaster is going first, can't hit, and he has to be the one who marks, and the Arbalest can't hit position 1. Does the finger just... Oh, yeah, the finger... One of the effects of the finger is to cause stress. (14 to 28). So without... And before I even managed to finish the sentence. Without a critical, it won't kill, but we got a critical. Vulnerability Hex. Once again, let us remember the Rapturous Cultists are very stupid. Sacrificial stab this one. Ooh!
The ground quakes.
Sacrificial crit. Hound's Rush. Did less than I had hoped. And he resisted bleeding. However, it did enough. Okay, now we just have the one Cultist Priest. Just a Cultist Priest. Yeah, not a big deal. Just one of the most dangerous enemies that I've ever seen that occupies one space. Like, I can't actually remember a more threatening enemy than the Cultist Priest that occupied only one space on the map. That wasn't double wide. Sniper shot will not kill. I'm going to use this round to get a little bit of healing in because we very badly need it. Okay. Much like Boisseau badly needs to learn how to aim. Alright. But seriously, I can't think of an enemy that is more dangerous than the Cultist Priests overall,
to the task's end.
that doesn't either occupy that isn't a boss and that doesn't occupy 2 spaces. The Cultist Priests are really tough. Now, the other thing I've been noticing as the stress levels gradually accumulate, I'm pretty sure without someone coming out virtuous, we aren't going to win this. Perhaps that's me already having my resolve tested and having come out hopeless, but I'm just watching the situation gradually deteriorate, and if we had someone afflicted right now, we wouldn't be able to win these fights. And if the stress levels continue moving the way they have been, we're going to have someone afflicted. Unfortunately, that's the whole rest of their turn. 9 to 16. Yeah, weird reconstruction is more important. Especially since we're running out of bandages. Okay, we've gotten rid of one of them. Now let's see if we can get rid of the one who's been bolstered. Pick it up with the weird reconstruction. Yep, and we already have more bleeding than bandages. Alright. Whoa.
Exposed to a killing blow.
Whoa. And Peugeot's resolve is tested. Courageous! I've stood up to far worse. We can do this. Alright, yeah, without a critical, that was never going to be a kill. You actually just need to heal yourself because you can't really reliably hit the enemy right now. Okay, weird reconstruction. Aww. I really needed that not to be zero.
At the very precipice of oblivion.
Okay. He gets the last bandage because he'll be back at death's door in no time otherwise. Okay, ritualistic restoration at least restored less health than I took away with, and he's back on death's door.
And now the true test.
Fortunately, he is not bleeding. And
or expire.
still not dead, but now... Okay, now he's in some serious trouble. Let's go with Purge to get rid of that corpse. And battlefield bandage, because as much as I want the Cultist Priest dead, I also want Pusho alive.
Ringing ears.
Unfortunately, the game apparently really wants him not alive. They're really focusing on him. Well, I can focus healing on him. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Be inspired by the purity of the hunt. Okay, just need a little more damage on the priest. Things you don't say very often. Yeah, probably overkill, but let's get rid of the Cultist Priest. Chop, we'll do 15 to 29 without a critical. Or 0. 0 is also always possible with Chop.
A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
Okay, lick wounds. When we're down to just the defensive growth and nothing else, we can focus on healing. Unfortunately, that's unlikely to happen.
As life ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Okay, yeah, it was never likely for them both to come up. Right. Okay, weird reconstruction on the guy who's on death's door.
If only to bleed again.
Just heal yourself momentarily. Okay, so stick with healing for a moment. Move yourself back into formation. And be knocked back down to death's door.
About to break.
I think I can win this fight, but I repeat my belief that we cannot win this mission. Alright, I want to make sure and kill the defensive growth last. Rush, 11 to 20. Alright. Sacrificial stab. Alright, I need to hit him hard one last time. Unfortunately, we're also risking... Pusho is now... Actually, no, he isn't. Chop. Okay, we're rid of the priest. The priest is gone, and I can use battlefield bandage so he doesn't have to make a death blow check. Wounds, and that gradually accumulating unbearable tremors. What does that do? Stress is what it does. Okay, so I can't just ignore that, but I can let it live for one more round. Ho ho ho! That was a timely critical.
A powerful blow.
I can briefly tolerate its continued existence while I heal everybody. Unbearable tremors, which is again just stress. And it isn't even that much stress. Okay. Okay,
This expedition at least promises success.
yes, I haven't retreated. Yes, I probably should have. Oh, that actually was a shortcut to here. Well, I know that for the future. Okay, at least the bleeding has ended. I literally bought all of the bandages, and we still need more bleeding. We need more bleeding to be fixed. Target move. Alright. Whistle. Let me think think about this. So, without a critical hit, and we have yet to get one, I'm not going to be able to one-shot the priest with sniper shots. So I'm going to target the growth, because the growth is within range of chop.
A singular strike.
And target whistle is kind of feeling unnecessary in this situation. I can finish the malignant growth off with sniper shot. It definitely will kill in this situation. Unfortunately, the two front runners need to survive all of this.
Annihilated.
Well, if I had predicted those two criticals, I wouldn't have used target whistle. In the meantime, let's just gradually put the leper back together again, so that the enemy can tear him apart, because that's pretty much the way these missions go. Again with target whistle. For the same reason as last time. Okay, that's unfortunate. In that case,
Compassion is a rarity
I'm actually just
in
going
the
to have her
fevered
heal.
pitch of battle.
Chop. 12 to 23, so good. Haha! Okay, looks like they can't, or at least their healer slash tank is gone.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
Yeah, unfortunately, the best answer that I can come up with is stop, please. Oh, shit. I'll let you decide whether I was reacting to Daze the Mind or the fact that the leper is now bleeding for 11. There really will be no more blood left for the leeches at this point. Okay. And Daze the Mind, which could actually be the end of him. Okay. Yeah, weird reconstruction on the leper because he's bleeding for that much. Okay. Thank you, Sword of All. Thank you, Sword of All. That was the most timely critical hit I've seen in a while. We really needed a critical, and you came through with a critical. Alright, all the flesh again. He's more nimble when he's stunned than he is when he's not. Alright. Battlefield bandage. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, we need to get rid of this, but we also need to heal people. Weird reconstruction on him this time. Stop. So I'm gonna have to allow it to exist for one more round. Sort of all just gets the gradual increasing buff to healing received. Alright, Hound's Rush. Actually gonna go with Solemnity. I'd really like Sword of All to go next, but we can't always get what we want. And it doesn't matter because the occultist missed. Right. Okay, you're almost done with your meeting. Right. And okay, I'm not sure how we're gonna make it past the next
Foolish
Templar.
horrors,
Like,
brought low and driven into the mud.
though it's in the next room, I believe. Wait, what? This wing is laid out differently. That whole hallway of terror and suffering was unnecessary. Okay, hunger. That actually is more good than bad because it gets us some healing. Okay, now we have scouting, so... Okay, well, I've learned a bit more about the layout. This is probably the fight with the Templar. How this fight goes determines whether it's even remotely possible to take on the third one. Okay, I am actually scared right now. Alright. We have an Impaler and a Warlord, which means they're going to be using Revelation twice instead of just once, which means that there's a much greater chance of them hitting the Leper with it. Okay. How are we gonna? How do I do this? All right, so I could target this one. It has fewer hit points, but the issue with doing that is the Leper can't reach it. Or I can target the Impaler. It has more hit points, but the Leper can actually hit it. I'm gonna target the Impaler. And first turn, and we get Revelation on the guy who really shouldn't have it. Alright, go with Solemnity. Sacrificial Stab, 9 to 16, or... I'm actually going to go with Vulnerability Hex with the goal of reducing its evasion. Okay. If you're ever going to give me a critical, thank you, Sword of All. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. We needed that critical. Alright, now we have to deal with whatever this one does. Body Slam. That's always bad. Alright. Hound's Rush. The bleeding damage is essentially meaningless. The Revelation damage, however, has a great deal of meaning. What's more, Bernier, I need you to take a risk. Okay, that was a mistake. It was a mistake because without a critical, she can't kill it. And, I mean, it was theoretically possible to get a second critical, but, well, it wasn't going to happen. Alright. Fortunately, anti-venom is something we still have plenty of. Okay, what's it bleeding for now? 4. Lovely. And he's going to be on death's door now.
Teetering on the brink, facing the abyss.
And he's dead because he had a heart attack. Wonderful. And he's... How did he take 0 damage from Blight? I mean, I'm not complaining, but... Okay. It's likely that the Impaler will act before Sword of All does. So, bit of a risk, but I'm just gonna kill the Impaler. Right. Mark the Warlord. Doomsay. I haven't seen that one before. This is it. That's
Survival
him.
is a tenuous proposition in this sprawling tomb.
Okay. These two do not have the firepower to even take down the one remaining Warlord. So we retreat from combat. We fail to retreat from combat, and we just keep trying to retreat from combat because...
The sin is not in being outmatched, but in failing to recognize it.
And Boisseau's come out selfish. Okay, we're out. We have officially discovered the upper limit of what we can handle, and this is it. Let's see if any... And a random hero must give their life to ensure the others escape. Well, if we stay, they both die.
Ignorance of your enemy and of yourself will invariably lead to defeat.
Okay, he has rabies and a lazy eye now. Now...
Finally, the serum is working.
Important question.
Manageable.
Unequip all trinkets. Important question. So the trinkets that grant protection from Revelation, are they gone? No, they're not. We gained one. So not only are the Talismans of the Flame not gone, but we actually have 4 of them now. Is that like a mercy mode kind of thing, where failing at that mission causes you to be given a Talisman of the Flame to increase your chances of succeeding the next time? That's interesting. Anyway, Boisseau has a disease. Let's fix that. Let's see if anybody else has any diseases. No. And I can't really afford to spend much gold because we're going to need to heal. Okay. So we have 3 empty spaces. Oh, right. We have 3 empty spaces. Let's see. I'm actually disinclined from taking the Seeker Vestal because the issue is I don't have enough other low-level heroes to send to actually train her up from Resolve level 0. In fact, I couldn't even form a mission that she's allowed to go on, even if I also took the Seeker Occultist. So, the Vestal is staying home. However, I can get 4 different heroes if I go for the Crusader, Hellion, Houndmaster, and Arablest.
A mighty sword arm anchored by holy purpose. A zealous warrior.
Alright.
Barbaric rage and unrelenting savagery make for a powerful ally.
And what do you have to say about it? Nothing about the Arablest, apparently. Oh. Right, I can take 3, not 4. In hindsight, I probably should have taken the Houndmaster, though. How many Houndmasters do we currently have? Sort by class, and let's find out. 1. You know, I did put some work into training her up, but McDowell is the only hero I have who is below Resolve level 3. If I dismiss her, I can bring in Blasbaville, the veteran Houndmaster, so I'll have 2 Houndmasters, and I won't have the 1 Resolve level 2 person to have to train up. So I'll dismiss you.
It is done.
And bring in the
Turn yourself
lawmen and
now
his
to the
faithful
condition
hound.
of those poor devils who remain.
But okay, so we've seen what the second dungeon in the Darkest Dungeon is like. The second mission in the Darkest Dungeon, rather. We know what the Talismans of the Flame do. Honestly, that went better than I expected it to go. I expected to have retreated a lot sooner than that. But, with all of that done, this is going to be the end for this episode. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, and I will see you next time.